Hello everybody, welcome to Contentment Guide Astrology, and today I'm talking about the upcoming full moon in Aquarius. This is taking place on either the 19th or the 20th of August, depending on where you are in the world. So this is some full moon. I was thinking about a title, and I'm either gonna call it Anything Can Happen or Let the Chips Fall Where They May. This is really the kind of full moon where there is so much happening, and so many energies that can cause really big change in our lives. So yes, anything can happen. And yeah, let's get started. So welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome back. If you've been here before, please like, share and subscribe. Please comment. It helps my channel to grow. It helps my business to grow. I appreciate every single person who shows up here. So this full moon is happening at 27 degrees of Aquarius, and the moon is opposite 27 degrees of Leo, and the moon is present in Aquarius with Pluto now being retrograde, and Pluto is at 0 degrees 14 minutes at the moment. So this full moon is actually part of like a really long story, because there's a lot happening in the chart with 0 degrees of Aquarius and Aquarius energies in general, and at 0 degrees or the very last degrees of any sign, the energies are always stronger, and there's more of that particular sign being activated. So with Aquarius, there's definitely a lot of energy happening in terms of future focus, future orientation, and also in terms of community and how we work together in community and with other people. So Pluto is currently sitting at 0 degrees of Aquarius, and this is the same degree where Saturn and Jupiter had their conjunction in December of 2020. So that conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter is also being activated again at this very moment of this full moon. And the reason this is more important in the story is that just like we have a new moon, a first quarter moon, a full moon, a three-quarter moon, we also have those movements between the other planets. And so since Saturn and Jupiter had their conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius in 2020, they are now actually at their first quarter square. So there's a very kind of like oppositional, more energies that are trying to work themselves out and through between Jupiter in Gemini and Saturn in Pisces at the moment. So since the conjunction in 2020 December, the seed was planted between what can happen in that house for you where you have Aquarius in your chart. And now at the first quarter square, there's a little bit of tension and an activation of that energy again, where you may need to make choices in how you are moving forward with those energies between Jupiter and Saturn. So as if that is not all that's happening, the moon at 27 degrees of Aquarius, the sun at 27 degrees of Leo, they also both forming a square to Uranus. And with the opposition between the sun and the moon, and the square to Uranus, that is called a T-square. And that is an energy that also brings a lot of friction in terms of when there is a 90-degree angle like this forming. That is the energy in the zodiac that can bring about the most change. And because Uranus is involved, Uranus brings about unexpected things. And Uranus can bring whatever we see as good or bad, but usually it is something with Uranus that hits us out of the blue. Sometimes it can be something that you've kind of seen coming in your life, and when that Uranus moment happens, that is just when the energy is activated. But yes, unexpected things can very, very much happen at this full moon that is forming a T-square to Uranus. So at the same time of this full moon, we also have, like I said, that square between Jupiter and Saturn, from the house of Gemini to Pisces, and Mars is just separating from Jupiter from their conjunction a couple of days ago as well. So that's only 2 degrees away. Saturn is only 2 degrees away from Saturn at this point in time. So there's also a tension happening there with energies that are wanting to bring about change and a crisis point where new action needs to be taken and old things needing to be let go of, and making new choices in terms of those energies. And this is very interesting because, as we know, Mars is that energy of forward movement and action, and it's being amplified by the Jupiter energy. And Saturn is that energy of holding back, being more reserved. So there's definitely an energy going on here of taking a breath and going inward, because Saturn is retrograde, and even feeling like you are being held back before you can move forward with whatever is happening in the house of Gemini for you. And Gemini being ruled by Mercury, Mercury is also retrograde right now. So you have Jupiter and Mars in the house of Mercury. Mercury is retrograde, so there's also an energy there of rethinking, replanning, revising things that we maybe were rushing forward with before, but now we have to rethink our plans before we actually move forward with them. So yes, so there is Venus in the house of Virgo. Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. So Venus is also influenced by the Mercury retrograde right now. Venus is opposing Saturn in Pisces, and they are forming a T-square to Jupiter and Mars in Gemini. So there's more T-square energy. There's more of that energy where Saturn is involved, where you are feeling more held back. Venus is not super comfortable in the sign of Virgo. She needs a bit more logic in the house of Virgo, because she's in the house of Mercury, and so it's not that easy for her to be creative and flamboyant and creative and all of these things, because there's a bit more of logic that needs to happen in Virgo with Venus before she brings her energies about. So there's more dynamic energy here, in the sense of the T-square bringing friction. And T-squares can feel incredibly uncomfortable, because they are helping us to see these opposing things inside ourselves that we are actually trying to reconcile inside ourselves to actually move forward. But the T-square can bring forth a new reality that is totally unexpected, because with the three elements being present to form the triangle of the T-square, there's so many energies present to bring about change. So yes, again, there is a lot happening with this full moon. We have the two T-squares, and then we also have Pluto activating that seed moment of the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction that happened in December of 2020. So you can see where Aquarius falls for you in your chart, and which house that activates for you. But with all the T-squares, there's also so many other houses involved in this full moon. So I would say just really be open to change, you know. Try to stay grounded. This is a very uncomfortable energy. There's no doubt about it. There's no way to beat about the bush. Uncomfortable energies are around, and we're just gonna have to get through it. You know, there's no other way but to get through. So yes, as per usual, I also did a Ching reading for this full moon, and I received hexagram 55, which is called fullness, and then with the changing lines it changed, excuse me, to hexagram 15, which is called humbling. And hexagram 55 reads, shine your light everywhere and eliminate the shadows. Be open to new awareness of what and whom are leaving and staying. Important new people can enter your life, but discernment is needed. Stay open to things you can see now that maybe before were invisible. So this also speaks to me like to this full moon energy, where there's so many energies coming together and so much uncomfortable friction happening with the double T square, that new things can come that we were unable to see before. So I think this is a beautiful guidance from the I Ching. And then hexagram 15 reads, keep your words and actions simple at this time, as the world appears very complex. Acting in a modest way will open up new possibilities. Be humble, be agile, and be alert. I think that is amazing. I do think it's going to be tough to feel grounded with this full moon. This is a very, very big energy, and lots of energies coming together. But we're definitely in a big time of change, and as uncomfortable as this may be, I guess we need to find a way to just embrace the change that is coming. So the last thing I did was I also drew some cards for this full moon. I usually just draw one, but I got two cards for this full moon. And the first card I got was the Six of Swords, which is a very interesting energy. As you can see, they're in the boat. They are rowing away. We are seeing their back, so they are leaving something behind. What you see in this card is on the one side, the water is moving a lot, and on the other side is very flat and clear. And this means that we are leaving more troubled waters behind and moving towards more smooth sailing. So I think this is a beautiful card in terms of that discernment, in terms of leaving behind what is no longer working and moving into something that feels more flat and grounding and more like smooth sailing. So the Six of Swords is about transition, it's about change, it's a rite of passage, and it's also about releasing the old and releasing baggage. So this is a beautiful card for this full moon energy. Yeah, take that in. I really feel that energy of leaving behind what isn't working anymore and going towards what is working. Then the second card I got was the Lovers. And yes, this card can be about love, but for my kind of readings, I see this general energy more as a blessing and a balancing point, because this card represents the balance of the masculine and feminine, and above them they have the angel Raphael. And what I find fascinating about this card is that it also creates that triangle that we see in all the T-squares in the chart. It has the masculine, the feminine, and then it also has the heavenly or the spiritual, and that is also a triangle that we all work with every day. So I feel this Lovers card in this reading, it's really showing us to find that balance between masculine, feminine, and spiritual. And in this card, it also represents the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, and the higher mind or the higher self. So I think this is a beautiful card of walking into more balance with our masculine, our feminine, and the spiritual, and also the conscious, the unconscious, and the higher self. So this is a card of blessings, because the angel Raphael is present, and it's a blessing for physical and emotional healing. So I love this card for this full moon, because I think because of all the volatile energies that are about, we can certainly do with some physical and emotional healing at this point. So love those cards. Oh, the last thing I wanted to mention, because I actually saw this when I after I received the cards, these cards are both sixes. So I thought that was very interesting. So I also actually looked up the numerology of what a six is in numerology, and the six is actually the embodiment of the heart. It's associated with unconditional love, and it's associated with mother energy. It's associated with support, nurturing, and healing. So So even the numerology of the 6 is so beautiful for this full moon. It's a very, the 6 is a very gentle and loving energy. And I'm definitely open to receiving that at this point in time. I can do with some gentleness and some love and some heart and some healing. And I'm sure so can some of you. So yes, so embrace that numerology of the 6 as well, because that felt important that both those cards were 6s. Thank you again for being here. I love making these videos. Please share, please like, please subscribe, please comment. I would love to know what is happening for you in this very changing energy of this full moon. And thank you. I'll see you next time.